Would you say that love hurts? Just from your own experience, does that ring true? Maybe you'd say, pretty firmly, yes, obviously, it hurts a lot. Or maybe you'd say no, if it's real love, it doesn't hurt, which is actually a pretty clever answer if you think about it. Or maybe you land somewhere in between. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to hurt, but it's not exactly rare that it does. It happens, apparently. People say that. And that's still a strange thing to say about the one experience that's supposed to be maybe the greatest source of happiness a person can have. How could something like that hurt? Tell me. Doesn't seem possible. Or maybe it is, because somehow this has become one of the most popular subjects in the entire history of fiction. Heartbreak, unrequited love, the uncertain kind, the impossible kind, and the list goes on. The obstacles that show up in front of anyone devoted to it can feel enormous, hard to get past. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes it isn't even worth it, and love itself can start to feel like a delicate vase that shatters at the smallest wrong move, leaving behind nothing but shiny broken pieces sitting in the dust, along with the regret. In this whole vast library of broken hearts, few books sit as high as The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe, a story of pain, of despair, of helplessness, in front of a broken vase or a wall you can't get over. The plot could not be simpler. Boy meets girl. Boy falls for her. Girl is already taken. Love is impossible. It's not going to happen. 4 sentences. That's it. That's the whole book. And it's almost like nothing happens at all. And yet somehow you get pulled in anyway. Your heart races. You devour page after page, faster and faster, chasing some feeling that doesn't really have a name, but that everyone knows and nobody can resist. It's almost a tribute to everyone who's ever suffered from loving too much, or more accurately, from loving the wrong way. To me, this book works as a warning, philosophically, about how much better we need to take care of our own minds, our own lives, our own hearts. Poor Werther ends up teaching us, through suffering that really does run deep, a lot about what isn't good for you, what doesn't actually make sense, and above all, what isn't love at all. Take Plato first. In the Symposium, he tells a myth about Eros, the god of desire, born from poverty, not wealth. Desire for Plato was never something you have. It's a hole trying to get filled, and it'll use almost anything to do it. From there, he builds a ladder. You start out wanting one person's body, and if you climb it right, that wanting is supposed to lead you somewhere higher, past the person entirely, toward beauty itself. Werther never climbs the ladder. He gets stuck on the very first step and mistakes it for the top. Notice what actually hooks him. Not who Charlotte is, the fact that he can't have her. She's promised to someone else, and it's exactly that impossibility that makes her glow in his letters like she's something almost divine. So ask Plato's real question here. Does he love Charlotte, or does he love the exact shape of the emptiness she happens to fill in him? Because the actual Charlotte, the one the book shows us scene after scene, is warm, a little ordinary, good with her younger brothers and sisters. The Charlotte in his letters is a goddess. Those are 2 different women, and he's in love with the one who doesn't exist. Now watch what he does with that, because here's where it stops being about her at all. Werther never learns how to separate what he's feeling from what's actually happening around him. On a good day, the fields are glorious. The sky feels like a gift handed to him personally. On a bad day, the same fields are dead, and the same sky means nothing. The valley never changed. He did, but he can't tell the difference. And that inability is the whole engine of the book. Here's a detail that gives away everything. The entire novel is made of his letters, and we never once see what his friend writes back. Not a single reply, in 200 pages. You're locked inside one person's head the whole time. That's not just a stylistic choice. That's the diagnosis, built right into the shape of the book. Schopenhauer, reading this a century later, wouldn't have felt sorry for him. Romantic love, to him, was never fate. It was a trap, something he called the will to live. A blind force that doesn't care about you as an individual, only about getting you to reproduce, and it dresses itself up as your soulmate, so you never notice what's actually happening. Werther calls Charlotte the most precious thing in the whole universe. Then, almost carelessly, he mentions a woman back home he used to care about, and dismisses her now as too simple. Ask yourself why that detail is even in the book. If Charlotte is truly irreplaceable, why does someone else get demoted so easily the second a bigger feeling shows up? Schopenhauer's answer doesn't flatter anybody. It was never really about her. It was about the intensity, and she just happened to be standing there when it hit. Erich Fromm draws the line that actually cuts through all of it. Falling in love, he says, is passive. It happens to you. Like weather, standing in love is active, something you practice daily, built out of 4 specific things: care, responsibility, respect, and actually knowing the other person, not a version of them you built yourself. Werther fails all 4, and not quietly. He never learns who Charlotte really is. He builds a version of her out of his own hunger, and falls for that version instead. By Fromm's own definition, this was never love. It was longing, dressed up as love. And here's the part that should really sting. Mature love, Fromm says, requires the discipline to question your own feelings. Werther never questions a single one of his. He treats how loud something feels as proof that it's true. There's an older answer still, and maybe it cuts the deepest. Buddhist thought draws a distinction most people never bother making. Suffering doesn't come from love. It comes from attachment, and those aren't the same thing. One kind of loving wants to possess, to merge, to make the other person load-bearing for your own sense of self. Another kind just wants them to be well, whether that includes you or not. Werther is close to a textbook case of the first. He can't picture his own existence without Charlotte in it, and take her away, even just in his imagination, and there's nothing left standing where he used to be. The Stoics would put it even more plainly. Some things belong to you, your judgments, your reactions. Some things never did, another person's choices, who she marries. Werther pours his entire self into that second category and calls it love. It isn't love. It's a grip on something that was never his to hold. 5 traditions, centuries apart, and somehow they land in almost the same place. Plato says he fell for the shape of his own emptiness, not for her. The Romantics show him mistaking his own weather for the whole world. Schopenhauer says the intensity wanted him, not Charlotte specifically. Fromm says he never did the work of actually knowing the person in front of him. The Buddhists and the Stoics both say he spent himself gripping an outcome that was never his to control. Werther doesn't die because love failed him. He dies because he never once turned around to really look at what he was holding on to, and by the time he might have, it was the only thing left of him. So maybe that's worth sitting with, more than the question of whether his story was really a tragedy. When you've loved painfully, which one of these 5 was actually happening to you? Were you loving the person or the hole they happened to fill? Were you standing in it or falling? and calling the falling devotion. And if you're honest with yourself right now, do you actually know which one you're in today? Or is that exactly the kind of thing you'd rather not look at too closely?